I talked to a lady yesterday. She spent 5 hours writing a welcome email.
Oh my God.
I'm like, you will never build a business spending 5 hours writing and I say that with love and compassion. But you've got to figure out ways to make it more efficient because you cannot get it all done when you're doing that. And so that became the basis of my business.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Great to be back with you again today. Sitting beside me in the captain's chair is Jocelyn. What's up, Jocelyn?
Hi, I'm happy to be here today.
And we are really happy because one of our favorite people on the planet, I don't say that about everybody either. I don't say that to all the girls.
Only the coolest people.
Only the coolest people. And this is an OG Flipped Lifestyle Hall of Famer. Jeanette Stein's in the house. Hey, Jeanette.
Hey, so glad to be here. I've been looking forward to this all week.
We've all changed so much in the last decade. We've been running the roads together. You know, we have different haircuts now. You're growing your hair out, getting rid. We're getting kids out the door. Like things are just. Life is a train that will not stop in all of our lives, Jeanette.
I also have glasses now. I'm not wearing them right this second,
Jocelyn,
but yeah,
since we became entrepreneurs,
yeah,
that's happening.
Struggling a little bit in the eyesight department.
We're at the place where I'm like, it's like I have to look at where the sun is on the horizon, Jeanette, if Jocelyn gets to drive me around at night, because I'm a little scared of her driving at night. So
yeah.
Happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us.
I now have bifocals. You know, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. That's why I'm wearing these ugly things because I broke my bifocals. So now,
no.
like, I'm wait. They're coming tomorrow.
As long as we can speak, we can still be entrepreneurs. Forget we don't need our eyes. We just need to talk. That's all we need.
And I can type.
If we could talk and type.
We have AI now. It's fine. We can just talk to it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to download as much of myself into the ChatGPT as possible. So when I just lose all my faculties, I will still exist in the internet somewhere. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, you did a good job because I was creating a custom GPT in your voice for this podcast, and it was the easiest one I've ever created. It knows you. It knows you. It was so fun.
You know, I'll tell you what's funny about that. When we discovered that one of our employees discovered this. So I was on the road a lot, and I delegated out for a while some of our email writing, and she was kind of like writing letters and then sending them to me for approval and then going back and forth. And all of a sudden one day she goes, "Check this out," and I was like, "When did I write that? Like I don't remember writing that." And she's like, "You didn't. I asked ChatGPT, do you know who Shane Sams is from Flipped Lifestyle?" And it did. And it's funny because like you look back and you can see a lot of things that worked when you didn't even know they were working. But I've always been in our entrepreneur journey, like consistent, prolific, relentless. Like even like we used to always transcribe our podcasts and put those on the internet. And we didn't just put them like a downloadable file. We always just put them in the show notes. Back when show notes mattered. I don't think they matter as much anymore. But like we would always put them on our website. So for 10 years.
There are benefits to being a dinosaur on the internet.
Yes. Like for 10 years, we had like 600 podcast transcripts or something crazy that were on the internet about us. Plus, then you add in all my interviews, all the things that ChatGPT like uses. And it is terrifying how much it can actually sound like me.
I know.
Nuts.
Wait till you see the one I share with the crew here at the end.
Okay, we're doing that. We're totally doing that. I'm gonna have to get access.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
We use ChatGPT. One thing that we do, we kind of use it as a marriage counselor now. It's actually pretty incredible.
It works really nicely.
and it's funny because like when we're having a business meeting, we come together and we open ChatGPT, and we spent a week about a month ago. And we were just like, I would type in my vision. Jocelyn would type in her vision. And then we would say things like, "Okay, ChatGPT, based on everything you know about Shane and Jocelyn Sams, what would be a wonderful compromise here that both parties would be happy with?" And it did.
So good.
It was so good. Oh my gosh. It was amazing. It was like the best week of business we ever had.
Yeah, like
incredible.
Usually we get all mad at each other and like we'll be like, "That's not my vision." Well, that's my vision.
That's what you want. But ChatGPT was like, "Calm down, kids. Let's work this out."
How about this? And we're like, "That sounds great."
And we asked it to take on the persona. So we learned this new thing called personas. It's from a book called The AI Driven Leader by Jeff Woods. And you can if you start your conversation with ChatGPT in a persona, like you did, like be Shane Sams, right? It will embody that. So we said, we want you to be the world's greatest business strategist and also a PhD in marriage counseling. And so it worked with us like as a marriage counselor strategist to like make sure that we didn't like step on each other's toes. What is happening right now in this world?
I love that application. Like,
I know. And I'm like, thank you, robot, for being the third party between
Yeah, right.
us. It's great.
We always view our relationship as like, there's Shane and then there's Jocelyn and there's like the entity of Shane and Jocelyn, their relationship. And now it's like, it's a love triangle with ChatGPT now. That's what it is. It's just like ChatGPT is the third member of our marriage. So oh
my gosh,
this is getting weird. Let's go back in time.
Yeah, let's go
can
to our outline
can we just
here.
move on?
Okay. All right. So Jeanette, take us back to the beginning. You were not always an awesome entrepreneur. You were a school teacher, right? So
I was.
Tell us about being a school teacher and tell us like why you started looking at entrepreneurship and then how you found Flip Lifestyle.
Yeah, so I was a teacher for almost 20 years. Math, as a lot of you might know, it's so fun. You've built such a cool community. I'm still in touch with so many of them just because you've done such a good job of building. You always said they come for the content and they stay for the community. And I'm still in touch with like so many. But anyway, so a lot of the users might know, but I used to teach math for almost 20 years. And I loved it. I loved it for a long time until the politics really got in the way and things started changing. And I really was feeling like I was getting burnt out because you weren't allowed to have the same relationship with kids. And then my son had some health difficulties. And every time I took a day off, they wouldn't let me just take an hour off for an appointment. It was take the whole day off, and they were forcing the hand. And it became so that by the end of the year, I was actually paying to go to work because I had used more than my days. So I would pay $458 per day to go to work. And so the last year I worked, I had to pay for 4 days before like summer break, which on a teacher's salary, that is a tremendous amount of money. So that was really fun because the weekend school got out, I went camping, and I had met through my math blog a wonderful math educator out in Seattle. And he said, "You've got to listen to Pat Flynn. I heard these two teachers and you need to follow them. They are doing what you want to do." Because I had a blog. I was getting a little obviously disgruntled to pay to go to work. And he told me, "You need to go listen to it." And I put my kids to bed. At that point, they were still little. Now we're like looking at colleges, but they were little. Put them to bed at 8 o'clock and just put my headphones in and sat by the campfire and listened to your podcast with Pat Flynn.
Man, that's awesome.
And I went home and joined. And by the end of the summer, as we, some people might not know, but I had started a blog. I was getting disgruntled in my job. I wasn't being treated what I considered fairly near the end because of my son's health things. And so I started a blog, and the administrators used to call it my little blog, my little blog.
Oh, that's so condescending. Oh my.
Yeah. How's your little blog going?
People do though. They see you trying to break out of the mold, and the people in your life even will be like, "Oh, that's nice. That's cute. Oh, you're doing this thing." And they try to tear you, but I don't think it's because they're mean. I just think it's because they see someone doing what they don't have the courage to do, right? And instead of getting inspired, they try to like tear you down, bring
you back to their level, right? Like It was cute, it was little, it was, oh wow, and all the time I'm learning, and all I knew really, because between blogging and raising a family with 6 kids and trying to be a wife and maybe get out of the house once in a while, I didn't have a lot of time to like learn online marketing. All I knew was people kept telling me, grow a list. And I had freebies. I was giving everything away for free just to grow a list. I didn't know I was supposed to do anything with it. You look back and it just seems so silly now, but I had a list of almost 10,000 people when I joined Flip Lifestyle.
That's crazy. So
I know.
You just had this giant pot of money sitting there and didn't even know it.
I didn't even know it. No. And so, it looks like an instant success, and it was a quick success.
How long? How long was the blog? Were you blogging before you started? Before you
Almost 3 years. I'm going to age myself. I started
Yeah, I remember this vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah, I started, I built my first website with Dreamweaver.
Oh
Do you
wow!
even know what that
I
is?
too went to the bookstore to start my
Yes.
business, and I
I'm
bought.
pretty sure we still have it on the shelf
We
somewhere.
it's in that closet right there. Actually, we have a
Yes.
book on how
Yes,
to.
it was like this big.
It was
Like
this.
right
Yes,
head.
it was this
Yes.
big, thick encyclopedia thing, and I was like, "Well, I guess that's what I got to do." Now you just pick Kajabi and
People don't know how good they have it now.
Oh, they have
They don't
Really?
YouTube. Like you have YouTube. Like
Yeah,
we're
you don't even
like-
need half this crap anymore. If you have an Instagram account and a YouTube channel, you can probably make money somehow if you can figure out how to.
We have Dreamweaver for Dummies.
Oh
That's
my
the
gosh.
one. It's yes, Dreamweaver. That's what I checked out from the library. So that was my first, and then I figured out. Then Blogger came out, and that
Oh,
was
yeah,
the
that was big
official
time.
start of my blog, right?
Yeah.
So, and I was learning all these crazy things. I'm like, ooh, people can earn badges. Remember when digital badges were a thing? How stupid! I thought I was gonna, and I knew how to create it and get them certified. Whatever. It was just a fad, but just funny to look back. And then started my math blog with Blogger, and then finally moved over to WordPress. And I've been pretty loyal to WordPress ever since.
One of my fondest memories of the first year we were in business was that 2014 for you? Was that 2014 or 15 that you started? Do you remember?
Ooh.
It was early
It
on.
had to have been before that because we started Flip Lifestyle in 14.
Yeah. I think it might have been the next summer is when you joined, because here's what I when I realized we were kind of on to something is we knew that we wanted to create community, right? Because we had saw community develop in other businesses like Jocelyn's Librarians and things like. We were like, well, this is interesting. Like, if people are hanging out together, they're more likely to like take action, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we met a coach named James Schramko, and he's the one who introduced us to get us away from Facebook groups and stuff like that. And he said, build your own community, just use a forum. And you create and control all the user generated content. People can get to you easily. It's not an email inbox, and someone else doesn't control your system. And now we can look back 10 years ago, and we can see now everybody starts their own communities. It's like Circle or what's that one called? Like that one at Mighty Networks, and like that's what everybody is trying to do now is build like a community. So we started this forum, and I remember that you made a post in the forums and you were asking like a question. I still have this saved, by the way. I saved that post for that you did. And you posted like something, and I was just like, well, I'm just going to tell you everything you should do. And I probably wrote a 1,000-word
It was a lot.
reply.
I remember this.
You remember this?
Yeah.
And then what was awesome was you would come back in like every week and update as you were going like down the list to like start monetizing what you had like already created, and like you opened your membership, and that thing like really like kind of not blew up like insane, like, oh, I'm the next Steve Jobs, but like it like blew up enough, and then you were like, I'm quitting my job, and we were like, wait, what did you just say? Like, what is happening right now? So just real quick, like what happened there that you just followed the plan, launched it, and people bought? And then what gave you the courage to go ahead and quit your job that fast? Coming from two people who quit our jobs probably not when we should have.
Right. I did it a little early. First of all, I had a super supportive husband who wanted me to be able to be home. And it became a joke around our house. If I didn't know what to do, or things were slowing down, what did Shane tell you to do? Go do that. And it all started with that.
If only Jocelyn would realize this. If only my wife would
No,
totally.
this is why we need a robot third party.
Listen to this wisdom that coming from our friend Jeanette.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness gracious. Sorry,
She doesn't live with you every day.
That's right. That's right.
Nope.
That's right.
That's so funny. But the second thing was that I think I knew the technology a little bit too. So if you told me to do something, the momentum was so fast, because all of the brain work that goes into deciding what to do next was gone. All I had to do was sit and do the next thing. and I already knew the technology. And now all the decision fatigue was gone. Like it got to the point where I wouldn't leave my laptop till I had the three things you had told me to do next, and they were on a sticky, and then I'd shut my laptop and get ready for work every morning. So I worked every morning. A lot of people have already heard this. I don't want to be redundant, but from 4 to 6.
You got up at 4 a.m. every day. I remember this. It was crazy.
Because I could not think after school because I had 6 children. At this point, by the time I quit my job, I still had 5 at home, 1 in college, which is not, if anybody has kids in college, sorry, Shane and Jocelyn, you're not done. It's just
I know.
I keep hearing this all the time.
We
It's
keep
fine.
Okay. But so it was just a lot going on. And by that time after work of dealing with 120 kids a day, and then the politics of just being there, I couldn't think after work. Like people would be like, well, I just stay up. And I'm like, every decision I've made a million decisions today. Like I cannot make one more, but I could get up in the morning, fresh brain, and I could probably knock out 10 times what I could have done at 8 p.m. When the toddlers went to bed. And that's all I really worked. And it was like, get as much as you can do. And once in a while on a Saturday or Sunday, we wouldn't have sports or band or whatever. And I could work, but really that whole business was built from 4 to 6 in the morning.
Incredible.
And then, learning how to do it all. But then, I joined Flip Lifestyle, and in 3 months, you taught me how to take 10,000 subscribers and turn it into a profitable membership where I made 3 months salary in August.
That's
incredible. And I walked in and quit. I was like, we got 3 months back up and we're good. My husband had a full-time job. He wanted me home. Like he supported me. And then it was just, okay. And then we went to Tampa.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. We've done a lot of live events in the last 10 years.
We have, and I've been to a lot of them. Not all of them,
Yeah,
but
so we used to have, for people who are new, we used to have like smaller events where we would have people fly in. We did one in Chicago, we did one in Tampa, we did one in San Diego. And people would come in for like a day and we would do like a little small mastermind. So Jeanette, we had the pleasure of meeting her down in Tampa.
Yeah, that was a fun trip.
That was the first one.
A really, really fun trip. Isn't it amazing? Like, we often ask, we talk about this because it's still a point of contention with us a little bit sometimes, is like, we were not ready in hindsight to quit our jobs.
Not even close.
Not even close. Like if you really analyze like what was on paper, what we actually knew about business in the first year of our business.
If you had to do this to any financial advisor, any business advisor,
like, hey, we're going to quit our jobs.
They would be like, you guys are absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I do remember part of that thread too, when you announced that you were going to do it. I put on there, disclaimer, we did not tell Jeanette to quit her job.
I remember that.
We never told people to quit their job.
Never tell anyone to quit their job.
Right.
However, it's just like having kids or getting married. Once you see what's possible and the goodness that could come of it, like it was totally worth the risk, right? We can totally be smart about it now. Like if my kids came to me and said this exact same thing, they would probably call me a hypocrite because I'd be like, hey, could you wait about 6 more months and make sure this is going to pan? Because it's my kids. But like when you do see, I made 3 months of salary in 1 month. And if I can do it once, I bet we can do it again. Like there's something that lights a fire in you, but you have to earn that moment. Like you may have to get up at 4 a.m. You may have to go get a coach. You may have to figure out a plan, and you've got to actually earn that moment. And here's what we've learned too after 12 years now. That's always going to reset. What you do now will probably not be exactly what you're doing in the future, because new opportunities are going to come up. Old opportunities are going to dry up. That's something that we've learned a couple times the hard way. And you've got to, like, you're in it, like once you're in it, but gosh, the payoff.
Well, and
so amazing.
I think that some people are more open to challenges than others. And I think that like, I wouldn't even call us open to challenges. I would call it's almost a requirement for us to have a challenge.
I would go with addiction
Yeah.
to trauma and challenges.
Yeah, it's like we just have to have that. We have to jump out of the plane and not know if that parachute's going to work. Like that's just part of who we are as people. And like I have a love and hate relationship with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. It causes so much pain and so much pleasure at the same time. Like,
And like luckily for us, most of the chances that we've taken have paid off. I mean, I can't think of a lot that have been like total disasters.
but like it's definitely usually entrepreneurship is a beautiful disaster. It's a true personal growth tool that I wish everyone would do.
But I'm just gonna say that we're not only like this in entrepreneurship though. We're like this
it's
in
our
life.
life. It's our relationship. It's our parenting. Like we're like,
let's roll the dice, baby.
We're like, what's the hard mode here? Like I'm seeing that we're playing it along. This is a game, and then we're just like, is there a hardcore death mode where 100 zombies come from the right?
Look for that.
I'm in. I'm all in. Yeah, but like,
this sounds about right. I know you two.
Oh, yeah. You know it's in real life.
And
you know
it's really true.
Like people who are listening to this and they don't know, this is not an act. This is truly how they are. They are crazy, and I love it. I love every minute.
I even had to take my jacket off.
I know.
She's getting serious now. Yeah. The heat is on. We're under the microscope a little bit here. Oh,
this is truly them. Yeah.
I tell what's funny. What I love about your story too, though, is maybe we can fast forward just a little bit here to where kind of what you're doing now, because you've been on this crazy, amazing journey too. Like
I have.
You've been in entrepreneurship, in the side hustle, joined a leadership team like for a big company, and like did all these crazy things to get to this point right now. But what I always find interesting is like you can't go back. You can't unsee like what you've seen once you become an entrepreneur. And like that's really like I think my whole life has been, or this in this part of our life. And it's even with my new book, Earn More, Live More, on sale September 27th. See if you can get one.
ShaneSams.com/books.
No, don't give them that one. That's the freebies.
Okay,
that's from the book. No, just go to ShaneSams.com and get on the waiting list. You can now. Johnson just gave away all the freebies. You know what?
Sorry.
Still get your name and email. I'm going to get you eventually. Just join.
Oh my gosh. Just go to ShaneSams.com.
Go to ShaneSams.com. But like the people that do this, even when things change, even when things catastrophically go off the rail, even when you fail, I never see anyone like, I'm going back. I'll just get a job and it'll be fine. It's like, nope, this is too awesome. The benefits are too amazing. And I've got to do like the next thing. Like, have you felt that in your journey? Because like, I've always felt you propelling forward and trying to do great things, even when it's hard. Like, do you feel that?
Yeah, it was really interesting because selling to math teachers, as many of us know in the US, math teachers aren't necessarily super happy people. And, you get into entrepreneurship and it's exciting and you're like this energy. And then your clients are like this energy. I'm like, I have to let some of this go. They're pulling me down.
Yeah, man.
Well, the teachers who don't need me have wonderful districts that are supporting them with resources. But the ones that needed me were like, in these districts that they didn't give them anything and they didn't have even textbooks. And so they were, and I was like, and then I did take a job at the leadership team. Boy, did I learn a ton. So grateful for that. But man, I got itchy and I had to step away and do my own thing again. And one of the things I learned was just how to make things run more efficiently and like processes and automations. And then AI hit and I'm like, okay, I'm watching all these entrepreneurs struggle to create the stuff, struggle with the time management, struggle. Like they're spending 5 hours. I talked to a lady yesterday. She spent 5 hours writing a welcome email.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, you will never build a business spending 5 hours writing and I say that with love and compassion. But you've got to figure out ways to make it more efficient because you cannot get it all done when you're doing that. And so that became the basis of my business.
I think it's cool too. Like, one of the people often ask us, like, I mean, everyone thinks you're an overnight success. Newsflash. No one is. Not one person, not Shane and Jocelyn, not Jeanette, nobody. Not Pat Flynn, nobody is an overnight success. And I find that when people really start looking at what made them successful, they find all these things that they were picking up at other jobs in their past, in their whatever, that kind of lead to that. Like some people ask us, like, how did you guys succeed so fast? And I don't want to just say, well, we didn't. I'm like, okay, let me answer the question because you're perceiving this as fast. But honestly, I think one of the reasons that we even made it at all is that I had the technical ability to figure out podcasting very quickly. And I knew how to use editing software. I knew how to use, like, I could edit audio and video, right? And I knew how to hook up microphones and cameras and things like that, because when I was a intern at West Virginia University as a football coach, and when I was a freshman football coach in the middle of nowhere, that was my job. I had to learn how to figure all that stuff out so that we could make highlight reels, so that we could make game films. So when I started deconstructing how other people were doing things, and Jocelyn wanted to start, like, I wanted to start a football coaching podcast. Jocelyn wanted to start a podcast for librarians. A really unfair advantage that we had was I knew how to do this. Like, I knew how to just edit and fix those things up. And that skill, I just applied it to the next thing we were doing.
And I am really good at, if we can't figure something out, like even in the days way before ChatGPT and all this kind of stuff, like I could figure it out. I could get on and like I knew what to search
She's
for
a
to get the
research
answer that we wanted, you
Yeah.
know?
Total research machine. Like, she can consume information and synthesize it like so.
Well, I know how to communicate with machines. So one of the things that I don't know that a lot of people know about me, well, you do if you've been around the podcast for a while, is that I used to be a computer programmer.
Yeah.
So like I know how to break things down into language that
Well,
computers
hold on.
understand.
Let me back that up. She was in computer science as a degree for like a year and a half. You weren't exactly like but you knew how to use your own DOS programming. You knew how programming kind of worked.
Yeah, so like I knew how to speak a machine language, you know, like a language that got the results that I wanted. And you know, I think a lot of times I kind of undervalue that skill
That's
because
incredible.
yeah, like my kids or Shane will look up something, they'll be like, I can't find this, and I'll find it in like 2 seconds, and I'm like, this was so easy, you know.
If you ever get on our email list, Jocelyn will find out everything about you.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit of a stalker, so but that's sort of an unknown skill that I have. So yeah, like if I know like your first name, your spouse's name, and the city that you live in, I can probably know a lot of details about you.
Find out everything about you.
So
and
yeah.
my point with this was like, these skills that seemed not even close to entrepreneurship were all we had. And I find it so interesting that you have a math brain and a math business that you started, and that's what got you into entrepreneurship. But now, as soon as you saw these chat GPTs and AI models, you were, even though we're talking to it with English, it's math. I mean, it's the way you prompt and program, and like if you spoke that language and you took all your entrepreneurship that you had up to that point, all your math skills up to that point, and said, oh, I can really do this for people. I can make sure that woman knows how to write an email in 5 minutes, not 5 hours, because I can teach her how to use this AI stuff. So tell us about what you're doing now. Like, give us the rundown on, you know, you're helping people with AI and use AI to like be more efficient and save time. Like, what are you doing like right now with your current new business?
Yeah, so I coach people on how to be more efficient. And I do that most often with what I call custom GPTs. So those things you do repeatedly. So if you think about your podcast, some people know what these are and some people don't. On Facebook, they might call them bots. But what they are is on ChatGPT made it accessible, where I can basically create that bot in ChatGPT. And then whether you have the free version or the paid version, you can use it. And so that means I can take my expertise of being in the online business for 15 years, or I can take Shane's, and that's where I was having fun creating this morning, is to create a repurposing bot, right? So that if you took because Shane, let's just go back to what Shane and Jocelyn have always taught us. I mean, Jocelyn, I remember sitting down with her. The first time I actually got to talk to her one-on-one was at lunch in Tampa. And she was the one who helped me organize my thoughts. I was like, how do I create all these lesson plans? She's like, okay, get out a spreadsheet. Let's do this together. And she helped me think through it. Well, no wonder she had her librarian membership done so quickly. Like, it doesn't have to be this hard, right? But when you're in it, sometimes you forget. So, but you've always taught us to be like super prolific. You make one piece of content. If you make one piece of content, we all know, if you've been in Shane and Jocelyn's world and you just put it out there and you don't tell anybody about it, it's like, yes, the content, getting value to people and getting your voice out there is super important. But if you never tell anybody, so I created a bot that you put in your transcript from your podcast, or you put in your blog post, or you put in the video transcript, and then it's going to help you create the email blast. using your
What? Hold on,
philosophy.
wait. Can you show us this? Can you share screen?
Ooh, I have the one for podcast ready, but it's not in your voice. But yes,
So tell me how this would work. So how this would work is like, let's take this podcast. Because I'm not doing this right now, and I feel like I'm about to learn something, so I'm going to just steal knowledge from you. So if so first of all, how did you train it on me? Did you just like go through prompts to be like, this is a Shane Sam's bot? Like, what did you say to it to make it even do that?
I said act as Shane Sam's assistant, AI assistant, right? Because we never want to misrepresent ourselves. Act as Shane's AI assistant. You're going to speak in the voice of Shane Sams from Flip Lifestyle, and you're going to use his common language. So it will even say done is better than perfect.
Oh my gosh. Like it'll use my catchphrases. Like it'll actually
Yes,
say things like
I
that.
told it to. Yeah. So, and then yes. And so it will do that. And so it'll tell you what's going to happen. It'll say, I'm Shane's assistant. This is what we're going to go through. You put in your podcast, and I'm happy to show you. I've got the other one created. You put in a podcast transcript, it writes your show notes. If we make it custom to you, it would already have all your links in there. Otherwise, it'll ask you for your links.
Oh, so you can
Um,
teach it like, hey, whenever you sign something, put these links at the bottom or something like that. Like you can, or when you say to go to a link, it'll go back to fliplifestyle.com or something like that.
That's right. So, like in your show notes, you probably want fliplifestyle.com. You probably want shanesams.com with your book, like promoting your book. Anything that's consistent every time, you shouldn't have to put that in every time.
Oh, you can make it
So,
do
like
that. I
I
didn't know
will,
that.
yeah, so I can build them for use. Like I could build you one and it would have all your links. It would have all of Jocelyn's stuff in there. It would anything that's repetitive, I would program in. So you only have to put in the transcript and you get everything out.
That's insane. So, like, how do you train someone like that's not me? Because I've been around for a long
Yes.
time. I'm online. There's so much. I don't even know what all I've said, to be honest with you. I've said so many words in the past 10 years. So, like,
Right.
how do you take someone like new and do this? Do they record a few podcasts? You upload those? Like, what do they do?
If they have videos, yes. I love getting transcripts where they're talking by themselves, especially if they're talking about their products, talking about their business, talking about their mission. These are all questions I would ask if they don't have this. I'd get on Zoom and just ask them because some people get more nervous, kind of like my first podcast with you. I remember
Right.
being like Jocelyn stripping off clothes. It was just, I was so nervous.
Yeah,
I called you out
got
on
all
that.
excited earlier.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm curious also so one of the things that we did when we were going through our business plan and like having it help us create a business plan is that
That we
we,
both could agree to.
yeah, which was
Key,
a task.
key component there.
But we would like upload the book and Shane's like, read this book. And like about 30 seconds later, it's like, okay,
It's like, well,
probably not even 30
that's a good
seconds
book. I'm
later.
going to use this book. And now, like, I've been asking it things like, hey, I want to share a testimonial on our Instagram. Give me one from the book. And it'll write it for me. And it's just like
Yeah, and
insane.
so I'm just
Yeah.
curious, like, are there also opportunities where you can, like, if they have a document with their story in it or their, about their product or service or whatever, can you upload that and make that a part of it?
You guys are making this just way too easy for me. So, like, my new freebie that I just put out this morning is that voice guide creator GPT. So, when you go to it, you just hit the button in the middle of the screen. Like, it looks like ChatGPT, but there's a different icon. And for me, they're all got the pink. See, I was told my logo stuff was brown and too boring for me. So I went pink. Anyway,
Yes,
it's got
pink
the
is my
Pink is Alpha's
favorite.
So she's all on board with pink.
You wouldn't know I have red nails right now, but I usually have pink.
And it will ask you, do you have a few transcripts? Do you talk about your business? And if not, it will go through and ask you questions. Now, this is a really fun tip. Let me show you.
Okay, so just to recap, like if you go to your website and sign up for this,
Yeah. Where's the freebie at? Where's the freebie?
Okay. It's at JeanetteStein.com/voice is your voice guide.
And this is helping people find their voice and teach their voice to ChatGPT. So
That's right.
when you train the system, it will eventually just write emails just like you, make Instagram posts just like you, do Facebook just like you, all that stuff.
That's right. So what I tell people is to use this, copy it, make it into a Google Doc because then you can link to it.
Gotcha.
Mine's just called Stein Solutions. You
All
can
right. So
update it
what we're
all
looking
the
at on
time.
screen right now for everybody listening is it looks just like ChatGPT, but it says voice guide level 1. This GPT powered tool helps you create a voice guide for your business by asking targeted questions and allowing you to upload relevant information. This is so similar to when we let ChatGPT interview us about like our marriage stuff. And it just was asking us questions like, what do you want, Shane? What do you want, Jocelyn? Would you both be agreeing to this? Let's move forward. And it interviewed us instead of us. That was the biggest shift we've had in AI probably in
Yes.
the last couple months is like, oh, wait, it's smarter than we are. Let it lead and it will figure out exactly where we need to go.
Right. So I'm creating this one in your voice, which is
Oh, so
super fun.
this is like a
So then
shortcut
it will
fast good
be
at
like
judgment.
Shane leading you,
Yeah, gotcha.
right? And
Gotcha.
so, and that's just, yeah.
Okay, so when I sign up, I put in my email, and this is what it takes me to then.
Yep.
Yep. And then we can just, when you click the button in the middle of the screen, you always just want to click the button because I have made the prompt work. So shoot, it's pulling in my information.
That's okay. It's interesting. So what it's doing right here is it says, you've uploaded the brand voice guide from Stein Solutions. This document highlights your core values, voice, tone, key messaging. So you uploaded my stuff in here. It learned from that stuff. I need to send you my book PDF so you can upload that into this.
That'd
And
be
like,
fun.
yeah. And so this now is like voice and tone, encouraging, uplifting, motivational, like, like friendly, chatting with it. So it tells it takes all that information, learns exactly how you would speak. And now instead of when you wake up every day, you're like, I need to post something on Instagram. Click, I've got something on Instagram in my voice. Bam. All I got to do is pick the picture, basically.
That's right. So what this and especially like with the content repurpose, it takes the voice you use as well.
Yeah.
So like it takes your podcast. So this is super important and everybody should have one. It's amazing with the content repurposing because it's not as important because it'll pull the context from what you've already created and actually create
Does
its
it
own voice
manipulate
guide
it?
all in one
Like
step.
Instagram has a different tone. Facebook has a little bit different tone. So like can it even take that into account? Because we call that a content explosion in the Flip Lifestyle Blueprint. You do one piece of content like on YouTube, a 15-minute video, and then that becomes it used to be that becomes your podcast and your blog. Now with this, it becomes an Instagram post, a LinkedIn post, a tweet. It becomes all the things, but all you do is upload one thing and record it and you're done. But I guess eventually if you get enough in here, you kind of don't even have to upload anything else, right? It just knows who you are and you just say, I need an Instagram post promoting my new book. And it will write that in my voice, basically.
Yes. So
yeah, so if you don't have your stuff in here, okay, so you're using it as your username, which means it's pulling in all the information that it already knows about you.
Yes.
And so if I'm a new person and I have nothing done or like I'm just getting started, what's going to happen?
All right, so Jeanette typed in, please disregard the document and ask me the questions one at a time. That's another amazing tip that we learned about ChatGPT is don't tell it, ask me 10 questions about my business. Ask me one question at a time because that's overwhelming.
Especially if you're asking it to be like sometimes I ask it to be like a counselor or like a therapist or something, and it'll ask me like 7 questions, and I'm like, okay, I'm already overwhelmed. Like, please one at a time.
That's too much trauma. One trauma at a time, therapist. That's what we need here.
That's right.
So the first question says, like, what is the main purpose of your business? What's the core reason why your business exists? So, back in the day, you might have said here, I help math teachers by creating lesson plans for them. Or Jocelyn might have said, I help elementary librarians or something like that. Yeah. And then it's just going to keep asking you, how many questions does it ask you? Just as many?
It depends on how specific you get with them. If you're dealing with a free account, this is a pro tip, you only get so many, what they call 4-0 responses. So every time you respond, whether it's 3 words or 3 paragraphs, it counts as one prompt. And you only get 20. So you're better off giving as much information and then you're only going to get a few questions. Otherwise it's going to be like, well, come back after 7 p.m. And you're like, oh,
I would totally
on a roll.
tell everyone here too. There's no affiliate program or anything for ChatGPT. But like, if you're going to invest in your business, you should have a paid account of ChatGPT. You really want the full.
It will pay off so big.
Totally pay off. Like you only really need 3 things like to start a business these days. is I would say you definitely need a paid account for ChatGPT. You need a platform like Kajabi, fliplifestyle.com/Kajabi. You can go to some platform to host your stuff on, and of course, a membership to the Flip Lifestyle community. So there's your three
That's right.
expenses. Everybody listening that you need to join. So this is just basically they can type in like exactly what they want to do, and then it's going to guide them through a thing where it learns their voice, learns their business, learns their avatar. So then whatever I need a Halloween sale email, it's going to be able to post that, give you a Facebook post, give you an Instagram post, give you whatever you need for everything.
That's right.
And you build these, you actually know how to build these in ChatGPT? Like that's what
Yes. And I have a specific system where I build them so that you're working with ChatGPT. You're actually answering questions, kind of like you and Jocelyn got so much power out of them.
Yeah.
I don't build them where you put in one thing and you get out a whole sales page, because it's like an airplane flying. If that pilot's not redirecting it, it gets off a little, the wind's funny. Next thing you know, you're in Idaho and you're going to Mexico. Like, it doesn't work.
That's a great analogy.
So I have it. I have a specific way that I program these, so that it stops and asks questions and for your approval at each step.
That's incredible.
And then it's it'll say choose A, B, or C. Choose 1, 2, or 3. And so they're all excellent, but now it stays on brand, and you don't get. So many people are like, ChatGPT just gives me nothing but robot sounds. I'm like, well, how are you doing it? Well, create my whole funnel. I'm like,
ChatGPT, tell me how to have $1 million by Tuesday.
Yeah, and it gets off a little bit in the beginning, and then it's just, you're off. Now, if you're doing stuff like where you're getting your voice, I cannot recommend enough that you get the app. You get the ChatGPT app.
Yeah.
Right? And here's the chat we just started. And what I'm doing is looking at my iPhone. I've got my app open, and that menu on the left-hand side is still there.
Gotcha.
So I can see the chat that I started. You can put your brand guide in on the computer, and then you come and you click on it. And when you click on it, it will open up and catch you up right where you're at. But
can I talk to ChatGPT without typing on the phone?
Okay, so what I hit was that little button with the microphones next to the text box.
I did not know this.
Okay.
Oh my gosh,
maybe you're aiming for more than just basic help.
I can talk to ChatGPT without typing. I did not know this.
Like giving them a bigger sense of ease, or maybe even unlocking new teaching potential.
That's ChatGPT talking back to me.
Playing out.
You hear that?
It's picking up your voice, and so it's
going to go so much faster now. This is going to get out of hand.
This is amazing. I put in my headphones. You go for a walk. Now, for anybody who's just getting started and you think this is the number one mistake people make with ChatGPT, when you sit at your computer, what have you been taught since you were 5 years old is to talk academically. That is not your true voice. So then you go on a podcast and they look at your website and it doesn't match, right? The way they hear you talk doesn't match the copy you have on your website because you sat down and you filled out these questions, right? Using your academic speak. Because as soon as you sit at the computer, you're like, okay, I'm writing a research paper and it's got to
sound smart. I'm talking to a robot.
Got to sound smart, right?
To whom it may concern.
Or I go on a hike with my dog and get my dog some exercise, and I just have my headphones on. It's a two-way conversation. It will continue to ask, and I program all of my GPTs so that this works really, really well.
Jeanette,
this is something I intentionally build in so that it works.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of, but then you've got your real voice. What's the point of creating a voice guide if it's your academic speak?
Yeah. Totally get that.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I didn't want to forget to
No.
Get off on.
I thought I had seen someone talking to it, but then I usually only work at my desktop because I need 2 monitors. And there's no button that you can push on the desktop that I'm looking at right now where you can talk to it, right? But on this,
you have a Mac, right? Don't you have a Mac?
Yeah,
you should have the application. There is a ChatGPT. I don't know on Mac. I have a PC. You and I have talked about this a million times. My husband works on PCs, and so I keep my PC to keep the peace in my marriage. But I would love a Mac. Like even before recording this, you text me. I got to email it to myself. So
yeah.
So in just one, I'll let this go. After you talk to it, you come back to your computer and you hit refresh and you've got your whole conversation, and now you can go and do whatever you need to do with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
So-
under the same chat.
Yeah, this is really cool. So it's like continuing to ask you questions and just like get to know your business better or your product or service or whatever it is. What are some interesting results that you've gotten with
Yeah.
customers so far?
The biggest ones are things that people know that build their business, but they were only doing maybe once a month because they're busy or it was taking too long. So that's what started the podcast promotion creator. I'm like, David, you are creating podcasts once a month. They bring clients every time you publish one. Why aren't you doing it once a week? And
Boom.
Yeah.
I bet his mind exploded.
well,
Like,
he's an ultra runner. So do you know what an ultra runner? I mean, you've dealt with so many clients.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, his smallest race is 50 kilometers. He usually runs between 100 and 200 miles a race. So he is training a ton a day. So that means that's what he loves to do. He doesn't want to sit at the computer and write up show notes and write up Instagram. So I started really dialing it in with him and just having so much fun with it. And now
I see what you're saying. He runs and he wants to be running, but he has this podcast that he had to do all this work on. So he was like, yeah, I only have time to do this once, but he can 4x his output with less work. And then he gets to go do all the things that he really wants to do with his time.
And isn't that the core essence of Flip Your Life?
Yes,
totally.
That's
Yes.
Flip Lifestyle. Yeah.
Yep.
Your time comes first, your life comes first, your day comes first, and then the work stuff happens.
That's
The
right.
whole point of the whole brand. Yep.
Yep.
Right.
And so doing the same thing with people who want to do blog posts or, don't want to be on camera or YouTube videos. That is probably the biggest thing. The weekly newsletters is huge. People just love help with their weekly newsletters or daily newsletters. They want it in their voice. They want to provide value. They want to be able to talk to their phone and have it spit out something in their voice talking about like their day yesterday, that behind the scenes. That's a really fun one for me to create. And then I do things for other entrepreneurs where like they license me to be their core GPT creator. And so that their clients can have more success in their programs. And that's really fun too, because
that's the ripple effect. We call those.
Yeah.
That's one thing we learned probably about 2 years ago. I started getting emails from people who had never listened to us. But like they found out that the reason the person they followed started their business was Flipped Lifestyle. And I got an email probably about a week ago from this guy. We have an amazing guy named Jeff Twitty, who he built a big business and sold it for like a couple $1 million. And like that dude, I never talked to him anymore because he's always fishing in the Florida Keys. But like I got an email randomly from this person who had bought one of his products, and that product had like changed his whole life. And he said that he was going through Jeff's training, and at the very end of it, Jeff had this thing like an about me kind of course, just so people want to learn a little bit more about him. And he had my podcast when I brought Jeff on to succeed. That guy found out about Flip Lifestyle, and he wrote us an email and was like, I don't know you. I've never heard of you, but thank you for teaching Jeff whatever he knew. And like, that's what you're talking about here, is those ripples of what you're doing are helping other people's businesses help their people. And that stuff just becomes like full circle.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm curious, what is your ideal customer? So like if somebody's out there listening to this and they're like, I need this in my life.
What is
like
your avatar?
Yeah, who do you love to work with, and like who can benefit the most from this type of work?
Yeah, people doing online marketing, those online businesses, especially business and course creators who have a specific voice and a specific mission. There are online people who do like physical products who aren't emotionally involved. Like I don't want to disrespect anybody.
There's no soul in it. Say it, baby.
Right. There's no soul in it.
It's a
Those are not my people.
China, and you're just hawking them you're just flipping them in arbitrage, baby.
I mean, like,
I know you're out there. Hey, make you die.
Respect to people who want to do it.
right.
Like
Exactly
that's fine.
But content creators, basically, people who
really content creators, course creators, coaches, those people who are really trying to help people get their voice out. I've been in the online world long enough that that's my core thing. I have helped a few brick and mortars. I have helped a few manufacturers build those, because custom GPTs can save up to 300 pages. There
Yeah.
are businesses who just want all the manuals in there so their employees will quit asking them questions.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I've done that, but I don't understand the nuance of those industries. I understand online marketing. I understand coaching. I understand memberships.
Yeah.
Those are I
And you
can
understand
dial
being
those
prolific.
in.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like being
Yeah.
you cannot survive online business without being prolific. Like
Right.
we've done it. We've taken our eye off of things and not done things as much. And as soon as you do, it dies. And like that's kind of like the trade. Do you want to take your kids to school and go to the gym and then go eat lunch and then finally sit down to work? Well, guess what? You need to be posting on social media every day, and you need to be emailing your list 3 times minimum a week, and you need to be doing all these things. And that is time consuming. It really, really is. But this means it's not anymore. And you
That's
can go
right.
run your 50-mile marathon or whatever you're doing if you want to do it that way.
Yeah. The other thing is that I see over and over again with my clients is it keeps the quality high. Like
Yeah.
I've learned from you and Jocelyn a lot of best tips of best practices. And what happens when the kids had the flu all week and you still send the newsletter, but then you forgot that the subject line should be this and you need the call that like you forget stuff. And by putting it into a custom GPT that's built for you, boy, you can be exhausted and you can be tired and you can whatever, and your quality never dips.
Really, too. Like I've never thought about. We've not been using it this way because you know me. I like to be kind of in the flow, but
Yeah.
I get sick and I get mad at my kids and I get off.
We're humans.
We're
I mean,
humans.
things
I am
happen.
human. I know you don't think so out there in the flipped lifestyle universe, but
I'm here to tell you,
Jocelyn can
definitely
tell you,
human.
the most human of humans. And but
Both of us.
but like I've never thought like, man, it's insane how fast we could batch things. Like we could really batch high quality content way ahead of time, very, very, very fast doing it this way. Because literally you'll get to a point in these prompts where you're like, write me a 90-day email campaign, emailing my list Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with our objectives and thoughts. And it would in my voice. And it will just create all that. And then all you have to do is really schedule it,
Yeah. I sit down with people half day, full day, VIP days just to build out specifically for your voice exactly what you want. There is no reprompting. There is no repeating yourself. There's like you walk out and everything is ready for you to use in your system.
Nice.
And those are my days because man, it's just all one thing. And I just go in and it's so fun to like test them. And people don't even realize the cool things they're doing, but all of a sudden they'll be missing and you test it and they're like, oh, but I would have. And I'm like, nope, we're not leaving this office until what is the I woulda?
Yeah.
Like, let's go in and we're going to fix it right now. So when they walk out, like I bet the testing and the tweaking probably takes 50 to 60% of the time in those VIP days.
Yeah.
Because I can set them up pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
Right. But it's getting your special sauce. And everybody's special sauce is different. And that's so fun.
I think too with ChatGPT, like you said too, like you can get it like this is something we've always done with the podcast, which might be how we're evolving our old skill set into a new skill set. Like one thing we've never done is I have never heard a Flipped Lifestyle podcast. Like we have like 1,000 episodes of this show, and I can probably count on one hand the ones I've listened to again all the way through because part of being an entrepreneur is trusting yourself and trusting your voice and trusting your mission and trusting your passion. Jocelyn, I don't think has ever listened to one back. Like,
no, I very rarely do because I just can't. I listen back to it and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. Like, why did I do that?
But like, this is even like that too. It's like once you get this to a 90% replica of your actual voice, like just trust it, trust the tool, like trust it to be able to go do that. And once it's there, use it and create and post and just copy paste and let's go. You're not copying and pasting random information. You're copying and pasting what you would actually say. It's just figured out what you would say before you need it. It knows you better than you do eventually. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, it's really interesting because some people I'm giving away some of my trade secrets, but if I make it too easy and you don't have to actually even answer any questions, people won't use it because they feel like they're cheating.
Yeah, right.
So I
Exactly.
actually have to build in psychological catch, like guardrails, where you're involved to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if it
yeah.
was truly automated, we wouldn't be running these passion businesses where we really
Exactly.
want to help people.
Yeah.
We would feel like we're running one of those automated spam businesses.
Right.
And like, if I used to write them where it would spit out the whole response and people wouldn't use them.
Oh my gosh. It's the
So,
IKEA effect. I saw a documentary on this the other day where the guy who founded IKEA, people think it's just like cheap furniture, it's a big store, they sell meatballs in the cafeteria, whatever it is.
right,
But which are delicious, by the way.
they are good.
But like if what the whole concept of it was he wanted people to love the furniture, and when they had to put part of it together, they felt like it was so much
Yeah.
nicer and more valuable than it even was, because they had that connection to that piece of furniture. And as content creators, like, we really don't want to just spam out content. We want to like use our voice and
Yeah.
share our passion and like help people with what we do.
Yeah.
And if you just totally automate it, it's like, well, this is stupid. Why am I even doing this? I felt when I had to take my emails back because like I was like, I can't have someone else doing this. This is what I like to do. I like to say words, right? So like I
Right.
totally get what you're saying.
But
there.
you do use it to give you ideas
Oh, for
sometimes
sure.
about
No.
things to email about
No,
and
my
things like
emails,
that.
I usually the way I use ChatGPT, because it knows me so well, is I'm like, hey, it's Shane Sams. I always check with it every day that it remembers who I am, even though I know it does because it's a computer. But like, it's like, hey, Shane, yeah, I know who you are. Thanks for being here. And but then I'll say something like like yesterday I did a post about my book being released, right? And I was like, hey, my book, Earn More, Live More. He's like, yeah, I know the book, and he like it's a friend.
Maybe it's a she.
Maybe it's a she. Mine's a he. I got the voice. Yours can be a she. It can be whatever you want. It's 2024.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like I'll put in there like, hey, I want to talk about the book launch. Date's September 27th. Really want to get excited about, Jeanette Stein's story today in the copy. And I'd also like some suggestions of what a good image would be. Write the email. And then it writes it. I give it a quick once over, maybe change a word or two, and then I just roll. I'm out the door. Posting, sending. That's a 5-minute task now. And it used to be an hour-and-a-half task to write that email, for sure.
But you're still involved.
Still involved.
And
It's still
it
a
changes something
conversation.
psychologically.
Yeah.
Isn't that
When
wild?
someone else was doing that, that's when I made them stop doing it. One, I wanted to play with the tool. I was like, it knows who I am. I want to play. And then, but the other thing was, I was like, it felt wrong, them just posting it. I don't know why I did that, but that's just my own problem.
Yeah, there's definitely, my favorite brain research guy, Daniel Pink, but I bet he's going nuts with all this stuff. I'd love to sit down and talk to him someday. I've
How
learned
did
so much.
so like as it's amazing what you've built. Like it's amazing too. Like only like 15% of businesses make it 10 years or 30. I think it's like I think 30% of entrepreneurs make it to 10 years, but 15% of businesses make it. Like 85% of businesses actually will fail eventually. And then, but the entrepreneurs will keep going and build new things and iterate and evolve. And like you're in rare air. You've been in business longer than we have if you count your blog, right? So it's very impressive, like how you keep building, how you keep growing, how you keep learning new skills and doing new things. How did that, for someone who's starting out, okay? Because you got to start somewhere before you can be anywhere, right? How important were the lessons you learned in that first 3 months, even to like what you're doing now? Like this thing seemed to come together and build faster than your first thing, right? Like how did those initial skills of just starting something and doing something and making it work lead to this epic thing that you're doing now with ChatGPT and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, you think about the first 3 months that I was blogging, you were blogging, whatever we were doing or podcasting. The information, I had such an advantage, even starting a few years before you, to learn the technology well. Because nowadays people are being told every time they turn on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, that they're not doing it right, that they're missing out on one more thing. And back when I started, all I knew was start a blog and get email addresses. And so those were the only two things I learned. I didn't have a homepage. I knew how to send out a newsletter. I knew how to collect email addresses. That's it. Like I didn't learn podcasting and Instagram and posting on Facebook, and I didn't
Doing
know.
dances on TikTok. Like
I didn't
that
feel
stuff
like
wasn't there.
But I look at some of these new people I coach now and I work with, they're trying to do everything. They want to grow on Instagram and they want the email list and they want to learn how to use Kajabi and they want to learn this and they want to learn that. And I was fortunate. I learned one thing at a time. I learned how to make that blog, use Blogger and write a blog. And in the beginning, gosh, thank God they're not still out there. They are so bad. Yeah. And then I learned how to use some headers. And then I learned not to write paragraphs like I did for my research papers. And then I learned, right? Like, but you learn as you go.
You just build it brick by brick.
And you build it brick by brick. And I feel like so many people are solving really good problems, but they feel like they have to learn everything all at once. And and I usually, if I'm working with somebody who's really overwhelmed, it's slow down. What are we learning this month?
Yeah.
Like what do you already know? And what can we learn this month? Yeah. But I need to do that. You can't. Yeah. That's like telling a third grader.
You should do that. You don't need to do that.
That's right.
And because what's funny, I love what you said there because like, we have coached a lot of people. I mean,
yes, you have way more than me.
Insanity, like how many people have actually came through the community.
I mean, we're like at thousands now for sure.
People, man.
Oh yeah.
And I've been doing this, like we've been teaching this for 10 years, like a decade now, right? And you know what's funny is like the blueprint, people will go watch the blueprint video and like, I'm so fat in the blueprint videos. I like was so fat in all my old videos, but like, I lost like 50 pounds and I was like, man, I want to reshoot the whole video so I look better at them. But like, I never do because when you go to the basics of it, you create content, you build a list, you sell them stuff. It's always going to be that way. And yes, right. You do have to have a website and you got to have at least one social media network. And there's a couple things you got to do, but it really is like, that's the simple building blocks of the whole blueprint is do the things that matter, evergreen content, be prolific, be consistent.
That's right.
And like, just do these things, build a list, control your list, email your freaking list every day if you want.
That one's so big.
Yeah. Yeah, just do it daily. It's not a big deal, guys. They'll unsubscribe or buy something. Both are good, right? But like, it's those fundamentals, man, that once you figure it out, you can't unlearn it, and you'll start doing even bigger things in the future.
And I think that there's also something to be said for like starting a business now, because I think that not having all those distractions at that time was a good thing, and I think also having the AI tools and the technology that we have today is also a good thing. So if you are starting out today, there is a lot of distraction, and there are also a lot of good tools and automations that you can use to help you get through it and determine what's most important.
That's exactly right.
But I'll give you guys a huge plug. You take away a lot of that distraction.
Yeah.
Like in your community, I didn't have, maybe it was out there and I just didn't see it because Shane, you had a list for me.
Yeah.
There was no distraction. Go in, do this.
Yeah.
Go in, do this.
Else. It's what you say no to.
And you told me to put those blinders on. You told me, I remember very specifically, you were like, put on the blinders because you're making money. So all of a sudden you're going to, all the thing, and this is what works. Keep stay the course. Just freaking stay the course. And it works, but finding your community and picking your spot and picking your lane and just go with it.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
That was kind of like what I was hoping like to let the audience see as we wrap this up is like you picked one thing to do and did it well. And then you learned it. And now go through all your iterations. Maybe it was that 3 years to figure out blogging and then 3 months to figure out monetization and then another 3 years to become stable or whatever it was. But now it's like, wait, I can help people with these ChatGPTs. I can do this much faster now because I know I have the discipline to stay focused. I know that all that other crap everybody sells everybody is not really a secret. I saw Russell Brunson sent an email the other day that said, this closely held secret that I have held in for 10 years. I'm like, Russell, I've seen everything you ever created. You say the same thing in every email, right? It's not, there's no secrets, guys. It's just being focused, being disciplined, picking one thing and doing it long enough. And
that's right.
Things will work. And now you're doing that. So Jeanette, Tell everybody about where they can find your website. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that can, use this technology. And if you're not using ChatGPT, I'll see you when you're out of business, and I'm still in business. So you need to learn how to use this stuff. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm at JeanetteStein.com. And, the fun part is I'm going full circle. So by the time this comes out, my new membership will be live where you can get all of these GPTs. And so I would just love to see you over there. And then no matter whether you join my membership or not, if you want Shane kicking your butt, helping you be prolific, come get my free GPT, JeanetteStein.com/FYL. Flip your
It's the
life,
Shane
right?
You're going to get Shane GPT.
You're going to get
amazing.
Shane GPT and with all of his wisecracks telling you done is better than perfect.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
it will help you put it everywhere. So help you be prolific. Yes.
All right, we'll put some links that. Jeanette, we're proud of you and we love you. And thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. That wraps up our interview with an amazing Flip Your Life Hall of Famer. Can I just say that? She's been here for a long time, man. She's been at Flip Lifestyle since almost the very beginning. And she was one of our really first people that really did an amazing thing. I mean, she was just like crushing it, working, but not like 8 hours a day. She was getting up 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., 4 or 5 days a week. And she was just slowly chipping away at her dream. And that's how you make your dream come true. That's how you earn more. That's how you live more. That's how you build a life of freedom. That's how you make money online. There's no shortcuts to success. But the cool thing is, every time you learn something, every time you build something, every time you fail or do something differently, you're building up your wisdom that you can't unlearn. So when you're like Jeanette, you try the next thing and you try the next thing. These things start getting faster. They start becoming more prosperous, and you start really putting the pieces together at a quicker level. And if you add these tools that we're talking about in, there has never been a better time to start, build, and grow an online business. If you had given me the Flip Lifestyle community and Kajabi and ChatGPT when we started our business, I cannot imagine where we would have went to and how fast we would have gotten there. And now that we have these tools, watch out, because we're going to be building some great things next, and so are you. If you want to start building an online business of your own, head over to fliplifestyle.com. That's FLIPPED, lifestyle.com. Check out our community. Check out the Flip Lifestyle Blueprint. We're having conversations like we have with Jeanette today all the time in there to learn these new tools, to give you those blinders, to give you that direct plan you need to flip your life too. So that's all the time we have for this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. If you've not done it yet, make sure you go leave us a 5-star review. But that's all the time we have for this week. Until next time, get out there, take action, and do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then. I did not know that I could talk to ChatGPT on my phone and then come back.
Oh yeah, that's like changed his life.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna I can go for a walk now and do my talk to ChatGPT about what I'm trying to do and let it write it, and then I can just come back and get it at my desktop later.
That's exactly when my brain is overloaded with ideas. Go for a walk. I'm like, I need to process all of this. Ask me questions until I have nothing left to say. Like you've got like.
Shane might be here for like the next month. Yeah. I don't know.
Not talking about anymore, I
know. This is going to be very beneficial for me.
Beneficial? I was saying that was a bad thing. I wasn't going to talk to you. You're saying beneficial?
No, sometimes your talking is a lot.
I am a lot. Let's be honest, people. I am a lot.